Hey everybody, welcome back to Barber Dave's Barbershop and home for a final shave for the week. It is Tuesday before we head back to the shop tomorrow. And as promised, we are going to do kind of a vintage shave with a razor that is probably more intimidating than a straight razor. And that's right, you know it, you love it, as Rich calls it, the meat slicer. This is a 1912 Eveready with a gem blade in it. And this razor dates back to like 1926, I believe. The 1912 stands for the year that they got the patent on this. And believe it or not, we found this, my wife found this for me at a steampunk convention a few years back. And so we'll be shaving with that. Our soap today will be Williams Barber Bar. And then with that, we are going to, in the vintage bottle, it's not the vintage juice, but in the vintage bottle, Aqua Velva Sport. Then we'll follow that up with another vintage Canoe EDT. And the brush we'll be using today is a Rubber Set 404 with a TGN Finest knot in it. So hopefully everybody is doing very well. And I'm using the Bloom water from the Williams to kind of precondition the face, so to speak. And then we'll go ahead and start loading. The Barber Bar, I have found, is probably one of the best soaps, and I usually load it on the dry side as far as the brush is concerned, and then add water as needed. But it loads pretty quick overall, you know, it loads pretty fast. And the Barber Bar, I think, is one of the best ones overall for all the Williams products that they have out. I decided to use Williams with this soap because I want it as slick as possible, and there is no doubt that Williams is one of the slickest soaps out there. So as I said, it goes on, for me anyways, goes on a little bit pasty, and then I'll just start adding some water slowly but surely to get at the consistency that I like. There are some folks that have trouble with Williams, and I don't know if it's just their water, because we have extremely hard water here. But it's like, you know, like Mitchell's Wolfette or any of these other, what some people consider finicky soaps. You just need to take the time with them, and they'll come together really good. Maybe just a little bit more water. There we go. So the fun thing about this Eveready is that you really need to be careful, because it does act like a meat slicer. I mean, it does have a guard, if you want to call it that, but the blade exposure is pretty severe, and the gem blades are very strong, so you can see that blade exposure, and you want to be right on that flat edge. And if you have any moles, you won't after you're done. Here we go. The width of grain pass isn't really too bad. But this razor does not like to go around corners very well. I think there's probably 3 or 4 shaves on this blade because I don't use this razor very often. In fact, I'd have to look back through my journals. I want to say it was probably March, I believe, was the last time I used this. But as long as you keep this edge flat up against your face, you're in pretty good shape. But there's certain times when you can't do that. And unlike a straight, I'll actually touch down first before I start moving. I'll wet the edge of this and kind of place it where I need it and then start. Never do that with a straight, obviously. And this is where, in the weird areas, this is where it gets funky. Because it's basically like putting a snow shovel on your face. Okay, first pass went well. But as I said, the width of grain passes are easy. Now is when it starts to get, interesting. Because you're trying to keep that blade, or that head of that blade, flat, but you're doing weird ergonomics. By the way, I want to wish everybody happy National Bourbon Day. If you haven't heard the hoops and hollers coming out of Utah, that's Chad, because he lives for this day. All right, here we go. One thing I've noticed also about this, you have a tendency to kind of tilt your fingers a little bit. It is a light touch, but you want to make sure you keep that flat edge because it can dig in if you're not careful. And I probably take as much time with this razor as I do with a straight. Like right there, I let my skin contour kind of bend the razor, and that was almost a bad thing. As I said, this razor to me is more intimidating than a straight. Like I said, even though it has a guard on it, there's so much blade exposure. And like I said, the gem blades are just stiff. Yeah, so it's kind of cool that this razor is almost 100 years old at this point. I know there's some guys that have a lot of these vintage items and they don't shave with them. I figured, no, I definitely want to shave with them. That's what they're there for. So if you haven't tried one of these razors yet, it's worth a shot. Just be very careful. Okay, not a bad shape. I've never really gotten a super DS BBS shave with these, but they're a good shave. I just find I have to do a little bit more cleanup with these. And there's so much soap left over, as you can see. I think I'll do a little post shave with it. Because with Williams not being made anymore, I want to enjoy it. I'll be using Proasso alum. Not a bad shave. No injuries, so that makes it a great shave. Like I said, I would not call this DS BBS. I would say it's a little bit more than a DFS shave, maybe bordering on a BBS minus. We're going to keep with the vintage theme today, and we're going to go with Thayer's Lavender. Let that dry down a little bit. So again, for our final shave for the week, we used an Eveready 1912 with a gem blade in it. For the brush, we did use a Rubber Set 404 with a TGN Finest knot. And for the soap, we used Williams Barber Bar. And for the aftershave, we're going to be using Aqua Velva Sport, which I have not been able to find a lot lately. This bottle, which is a vintage bottle, I'm sure Matt Lukey, 3262 or 3267, one of those two. We call him Inigo. We call him Matt. He gave this to me a few Christmases ago, actually a lot of Christmases ago, and I had transferred the Aqua Velva Sport, which is a great scent. You just can't find it anymore. It's got a nice alcohol hit, and it still has that that classic feel and fragrance of Aqua Velva, just not quite as icy blue. And the bottle I cherish. And it's in perfect shape. You can actually still reading the writing on the back, and it's just a wonderful bottle. So thank you, Matt, for that years and years ago. We'll do a little bit of Pinaud talc for today, because we are going to be going out a little bit. And then to keep up that vintage, we're going to be using Canoe. Canoe is often compared to Pinaud Clubman. I don't see that. I just think it's a nice old-fashioned barbershop scent. A little bit sweeter, but still a great fragrance. Okay, folks, that's it. Thanks for sticking with me all 3 days this week. 2 straight shaves and a meat cleaver shave, as they say. I'm Barber Dave, and come and see us right here, www.theshavingcadre.com. We'd certainly appreciate having you come see us. I hope you have a great remainder of the week, and we'll more than likely see you next Sunday. Have a great day. And for those of you that stuck around, we're approaching 700 subscribers, and we're going to have something very special for that, a giveaway of some type. So once again, thank you so much. Have a great week, and we'll talk to you again very soon. Bye-bye.